Welcome to today's screencast on how U.S. states spatially organize their governments. In this lesson, we're going to explore how different states in the United States structure their governments and political divisions, looking at how they're organized geographically and administratively. We're going to dive into how political boundaries, like counties, districts, and municipalities, affect governance at the state and national level. You'll learn how these divisions impact decision-making, resource management, and the way services are delivered to citizens. From the creation of local governments to the role of state capitals, this lesson is going to help you understand the relationship between geography and governance in the U.S. So let's get started and examine how the spatial organization of government shapes the daily lives of citizens in each state. The census is an official count of the population that's conducted every 10 years as mandated by the U.S. Constitution. While its primary purpose is to tally the population, the census also collects important data on various demographic factors such as age, race, and sex. This information helps create a more detailed picture of the population and is used for a variety of purposes beyond just counting people. One of the main uses of census data is to determine how federal and state funding is allocated for essential services and infrastructure. Governments rely on this information to plan and provide services in an efficient manner. For example, the census helps decide how much funding should be directed to schools, roads, waste management, hospitals, libraries, and public transportation systems. By accurately identifying where populations are concentrated and the demographic characteristics of those areas, the census ensures that resources are distributed fairly and effectively to meet the needs of those communities. Reapportioning the congressional map is also a process that ensures each congressional district in the United States has roughly the same population. After the census is completed, the data is used to determine how many congressional seats each state should have. The process of reapportionment involves redistributing the seats in the U.S. House of Representatives based on population changes. If a state's population decreases, it could lose one or more of its congressional seats, while if its population increases, the state might gain additional seats. This process also involves redistricting, where the boundaries of each congressional district are redrawn to reflect the changes in population. Redistricting is done by state legislatures, and it ensures that each district has approximately the same number of people. The goal is to maintain fair representation for all citizens, regardless of where they live. This is important because, in order for democracy to function properly, each person's vote should carry the same weight, and districts should be balanced in terms of population. Reapportionment and redistricting are crucial steps in maintaining the integrity of the electoral process in the United States. Electoral geography refers to the study of how geographic factors influence political outcomes, particularly the distribution of legislative seats. One important aspect of electoral geography is reapportionment, the process through which the 435 seats in the U.S. House of Representatives are reallocated to different states based on changes in population. The census, conducted every 10 years, provides the data necessary for reapportionment. As populations shift across the country, some states may gain congressional seats, while others may lose them. This process ensures that representation in the House remains proportional to population. Each state is divided into congressional districts, and the number of districts each state has is determined by its share of the 435 seats. This means that as populations grow or shrink, the number of congressional districts in each state can change. After reapportionment, redistricting takes place, where the boundaries of these districts are redrawn to reflect the new distribution of seats. This ensures that each district has roughly the same number of people, which is essential for fair representation in Congress. Understanding electoral geography helps us grasp how political power is distributed and how it changes over time, shaping the political landscape at both the state and national levels. Electoral geography also encompasses the study of the Electoral College, which is the system used to elect the President of the United States. The Electoral College consists of 538 electors, with each elector representing a state's population and congressional delegation. The number of electors each state has is equal to the number of its U.S. representatives and senators combined. This means that each state's electoral power in presidential elections is directly tied to its representation in Congress. 435 U.S. representatives and 100 senators, plus 3 electors for Washington, D.C. When a state gains or loses a congressional seat due to population changes reflected in the census, its number of electoral college votes also changes. This means that a state that loses a congressional seat will lose an electoral college vote, while a state that gains a seat will gain one. The popular vote in each state determines which electors will vote for the president. These electoral votes are crucial in deciding the outcome of presidential elections, and the system's structure directly links the distribution of political power in Congress to the election of the nation's leader. Understanding this system highlights the connection between geography, population distribution, and political representation at the national level. Electoral geography also includes the process of redistricting, which refers to the redrawing of a state's internal political boundaries. These boundaries determine how voting districts are organized for elections to the U.S. House of Representatives and the state legislatures. Redistricting occurs after the release of new census data every 10 years to ensure that the population in each district is roughly equal. This process helps ensure that each representative in the U.S. House of Representatives, as well as in state legislatures, represents a similar number of people. A voting district is a geographic area created by state and local governments to organize elections. These districts are drawn by state legislatures and are intended to reflect shifts in population. Redistricting can impact political power within a state, as the way districts are drawn can influence election outcomes. This process may also involve political maneuvering, known as gerrymandering, where district boundaries are manipulated to favor a political party. Thus, understanding redistricting is crucial for understanding how representation is determined and how the electoral system reflects population changes over time. When drawing voting districts, there are several key requirements that must be met to ensure fairness and accuracy in representation. First, voting districts must have a similar population size. This ensures that each district is represented by roughly the same number of people, preventing some voters from having more influence than others due to population imbalances. Another important requirement is that districts must be contiguous, meaning that the district must form a single, unbroken shape. This ensures that all areas within the district are connected, preventing fragmented or disconnected regions that could create confusion or inequalities in representation. Lastly, voting districts should be compact. Compactness refers to the shape of the district's boundaries. Ideally, districts should have smooth, regular shapes rather than contorted or irregular ones. The goal is for the district to cluster around a central core rather than stretching outwards in odd or far-reaching patterns. This helps create districts that are logical and easier to represent. By following these guidelines, districts can be more fairly drawn and better represent the communities that they serve. Gerrymandering is the practice of redrawing political district boundaries with the intent of gaining a political advantage. This typically happens when the political party that controls a majority of seats in a state legislature manipulates the boundaries to help their party win more elections. Instead of drawing districts that fairly represent the population, they create districts designed to favor their party, often by concentrating opposing voters into one district or spreading them thin across many districts. This process allows the party in power to maintain or extend their political control by ensuring that their candidates have a better chance of winning. Gerrymandering can create districts that are highly irregular in shape, sometimes resembling squiggly lines or strange shapes that seem to serve no geographic or community purpose. The goal is not to represent communities fairly, but to strategically influence the outcome of elections, which can lead to unrepresentative political results. This practice has sparked much debate and legal challenges as it undermines the fairness of democratic elections. Electoral geography involves the study of how political boundaries and districting can impact electoral outcomes. Two common strategies used in gerrymandering to manipulate these outcomes are packing and cracking. Packing is the practice of clustering like-minded voters, often from the opposing party, into a single district. By doing this, the party in control of redistricting can ensure that their opponents win that one district but lose the other districts. For example, if a group of voters tends to vote for one party, packing them all into one district ensures that their votes are concentrated in a single area, leaving the other districts easier for the controlling party to win. On the other hand, cracking is the strategy of dispersing like-minded voters across multiple districts. This minimizes their impact in each district and prevents them from gaining a majority in any one district. By spreading the opposing party's voters thinly, cracking ensures that they can't consolidate enough support to win any district, ultimately giving the party in control an advantage across multiple districts. Both packing and cracking are ways that district boundaries can be manipulated to favor a particular political party, and they illustrate how electoral geography plays a crucial role in determining political power. Representative districts are the ideal when it comes to creating fair and equitable voting districts. In these districts, several important factors come into play to ensure that the boundaries reflect the interests and demographics of the population. First, the population of each district must be equal, meaning that each district has approximately the same number of people. This ensures that each vote carries equal weight and that no region has more influence than another simply due to its population size. This concept is vital for maintaining the principle of one person, one vote. Second, the district must be contiguous, meaning that all parts of the district are connected in one unbroken shape. This prevents any odd, fragmented districts that could be designed to favor one political party over another by splitting up communities in unnatural ways. Finally, a compact district is one that has smooth boundaries, not overly stretched or irregular. Compact districts tend to cluster around a central core instead of sprawling out in strange, convoluted shapes. This ensures that the district is geographically coherent, representing communities that are naturally connected and share common interests. When voting districts are equal in population, contiguous, and compact, they become truly representative of the people living in them, fostering fairer elections and a more accurate reflection of voters' preferences. The results of gerrymandering can have significant and far-reaching impacts on election results at various scales, including national, state, and local levels. Gerrymandering, or the manipulation of electoral district boundaries for political advantage, can distort the democratic process, making elections less representative of the true will of the people. At the national level, gerrymandering can impact the overall balance of power in Congress. By redrawing district lines to favor a particular political party, one party can secure a disproportionate number of seats in the House of Representatives, even if they don't win the majority of the votes nationwide. This can result in skewed representation in the federal government, where the party that controls the redistricting process may hold power without actually having the support of the majority of voters. At the state level, gerrymandering can influence not just congressional elections, but also state legislative races. States where one party controls both the governorship and the legislature can use gerrymandering to strengthen their position, making it harder for opposing parties to win future elections. This manipulation can shape state policies and priorities, potentially leaving the views of the electorate underrepresented in government decisions. At the local level, gerrymandering can impact the composition of city councils, school boards, and other local governing bodies. By redrawing district lines within a city or county, it becomes easier to favor one community or group over others, altering the outcomes of local elections and undermining the true representation of local populations. So, are our elections truly representative? When gerrymandering is allowed to persist, the answer is often no. Elections may not accurately reflect the political will of the voters, as district lines can be drawn in ways that dilute the voting power of certain groups or skew results in favor of a political party. This raises important questions about the fairness and integrity of the electoral system and whether all voters are truly being given an equal voice in the democratic process.